We have one item for discussion tonight. Dr. Johnson, would you like to?
Yes, thank you very much. The U.S. News and World Report came out with its rankings, and Southside High School was there. We were there in 2016. We did not make it last year. We did not make the list this year. A number of people in the community had questions as to the reasons why not. I know that we placed some information on our website that we hoped would provide us with a satisfactory explanation as to the reason why, but we've asked that John Murphy, if he wouldn't mind, go to the microphone, talk to us for a few minutes about some of the reasons why, and then provide the Board of Education opportunity, if they should choose to do so, ask any questions or discuss any of the issues related to the reasons why we did not.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So the U.S. News and World Report is one of a series of rankings that have become increasingly popular over the last 30 years that measures, by their own words, high school challenge or their own criteria for what a best high school is. In the case of U.S. News and World Report, we've been on and off the list. The last time we were on the list was 2016, where we were amongst the top in the state as well as in the country. This year we're not. Last year we weren't. So the reason for this year, well, there's an overarching reason, and the sad part of it is that philosophically we're in agreement that with U.S. News and World Report, that one of the indicators of school success is the percentage of students who have access to and achievement in the more rigorous coursework, IB, AP coursework. What U.S. News and World Report has to do is develop a metric, a measure that applies to all 18,000 high schools in the country that they can apply unilaterally to and then pass a four-tier process. The first step in their process is to use statewide assessments, and schools have to be amongst the top 10% in the state, or significantly better for disadvantaged students. By disadvantaged, they mean students who are economically disadvantaged on free and reduced price lunch. And so that's the first measure. The second measure is to make sure that there's not significant disproportionality. By disproportionality, it means have the students who are disadvantaged achieved at least comparably to their peers, both in other schools and amongst your more advantaged peers. The third step is to look at the graduation rate at the respective high schools to make sure that the graduation rate is healthy and sound. This year, their cutoff rate was 80% graduation rate. And then the fourth stage is the AP and IB participation rate for the school, which is then tempered by an achievement ratio. 75% is the raw number of students who participate in IB and AP coursework, and this 25% is the success rate of those students. The reason that we didn't get on the list this year is that we didn't make the first cut, that we didn't get past the first threshold. And this is after conversations with the statisticians that work for U.S. News and World Report. And this is why. U.S. News and World Report has to define two measures that they can use unilaterally to 18,000 different high schools. So they choose two state assessments that they know everyone uses, English and math. Every state in the union gives some form of state assessment in English and math. So for New York, they chose algebra and geometry. And they choose those cohort results that you can pull off the website yourself. They're all public access on the New York State report card, which is where they get their results. The only problem with that is that Southside High School doesn't offer algebra to our 9th grade students. We offer it to our 8th grade students. So what they do is they pull up the Southside High School report card and they pull the results for our algebra regions, which is usually 20% or fewer students. The students who are taking algebra at Southside High School are those students who did one of two things. They transferred into the district and weren't in our middle school, or they failed the algebra regents in 8th grade and are retaking it again. For instance, this year there are 12 students at Southside High School who will sit the algebra regents in June. There are 290 students taking the geometry regents, which is the entire cohort. So on the year 2015-16, which is the year that they pulled the results out, they measured Southside High School's math results for the small 15% of students who either failed the algebra regents or transferred in against other districts' ninth grade cohort. Now you could say to yourself, but that's okay, but don't other schools accelerate? In other words, we can't be the only school in the world who accelerates students in algebra. That is true. Looking at the schools in the top 100, who are New York schools, no fewer than 50% of their ninth grade students take the algebra exam. The reason I know that is you take the raw number of algebra results that are on their report card and then get into the Common Core data and look at the cohort size. In other words, how many students took the algebra regions? What's the size of your ninth grade class? And just reading down the list of these are the schools who made the list, 51% of students at Jericho took algebra in ninth grade. 72% of the students in Garden City took it in the ninth grade. 69% in Great Neck South and 72% in Manhasset. So a proportionally large number of ninth grade students took it in ninth grade in those schools. So then you ask yourself, why? These are schools who are comparable in achievement historically to us, even though historically their number of students on free and reduced price lunch are significantly lower than that of Rockville Center. Our free and reduced price lunch rate is around 16 to 17%. The schools that I mentioned there were 4% or lower. 2015 and 16 was the first year that the Algebra 2 Common Core regions was implemented. That exam was noteworthy for two things: the number of students who cried at the end of the exam, and the 52% pass rate that the state published that year. This is the cohort, the 11th grade cohort, who were the first to take the algebra regions, the geometry regions, and the algebra 2. The reason that is noteworthy is because the failure rate was so low and the disproportionality rate was so high. The number of economically disadvantaged students who failed that test were double what they had done for the previous algebra test. So school districts that universally accelerated were punished twice. Once by universally accelerating on a new exam, and secondly on the U.S. News and World Report. The disproportionality exists when they look at the free and reduced price lunch of the school district, but that's not the free and reduced price lunch number of the kids taking that test. Does that make sense? In other words, the free and reduced price lunch percentage for the high school is 14%, and that was the measure they used to see if we were proficient. But 31% of the students who took the algebra and geometry test that year were free and reduced price lunch. So we were measured against a very small number of students against a false metric. And that extends. They said, well, we also included geometry. Well, that's true, but there are ninth graders, and you're comparing them against 10th graders into the school districts. So that's the benchmark. Despite that, we missed making that cut out of a scale of 1 to 200 by 3 marks. In other words, our scale was 140.1. A 143 gets us to the next stage, despite the discrepancies in our representation. I'm making too big a deal of this, and I apologize, but we published our IB and state data on the school website in the letter that Dr. Johnson refers to. I pulled that data from U.S. News and World Report. I did not pull that myself. That is our IB and AP participation data from U.S. News and World Report. If we made the list, we'd be in the top 100 in the country. And we're not, and I don't know what to tell you is going to happen next year. Last year we were here, and it was about the IB being left off, right? And we promised we were going to fix that, and we did. And there's a cynic and a skeptic in me that says, if I was selling magazines and rankings based on the number of hits, I would make sure that every year that list was distinctly different, because it's going to get more. If I know I'm not going to be on the list and I have no shot, why should I check the rankings? So I have a vested interest in making sure that there's slightly subtly different every year. I have no proof of that, but. Okay.
Any questions, anybody?
Mr. Murphy, would you do anything different?
Nope.
No questions.
To be placed on the list is a nice thing, but not, it doesn't make us less of a school than we are, so it's,
Based on the criteria of why we're not on the list, I'm proud that we're not on the list this year. Because we did the right thing and we were punished for it.
Do you think they would have a look at the 8th grade scores?
No. Well, no, that's not true. They'll look at the 8th grade scores if I was Cold Spring Harbor or Wheatley.
Yeah,
The
they
reason-
already do.
Right. In other words, it's based on a BEDS
Yeah.
code. A BEDS code is a school-specific code that identifies the school. If we are a 7 to 12 school, like Wheatley, like Cold Spring Harbor, then they include their 8th grade results, which got them on the rankings. Because the middle school has a different BEDS code than the high school,
They don't
that's
look-
not going to happen. They didn't want to hear that either.
Understand. Thank you. I just wanted you to explain.
Thank you.
anything else, Dr. Johnson?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and congratulations on tenure.
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson, opportunity for superintendent.
Yeah, just two things. One, I just want to thank the voters of Rockville Center for, again, approving our budget and bringing 2 members to our Board of Education. Kelly Barry, who is here tonight, was elected along with Liz Dion, so congratulations. All I can tell you is that Liz jumped in with both feet when she started, and so did Kelly, as a matter of fact. So we've already started sending her the information, and she's trying to hit the ground running. I think more importantly is the election results that actually did demonstrate an increasing support as a percent of the total number of people coming out for our budget. We hit the highest percent certainly in the last 10 years, and I suspect probably the highest percent in the last 20. Over 73% of our residents supported our budget this year. That really is an all-time high. And I
Thank you.
thank you, yes. I think it speaks to the value that people place on the education that we provide to their children, and at the same time ratchets up the expectations that they have for us to continue to maintain the quality that we provide to this community. So you have my pledge to do so through this upcoming school year, and all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you. The other thing I just wanted to mention, those of you who have an opportunity to share, some people call it the heartbeat of this community. It is the center stage production each year that gets put on by a group of students who are both special education and they call them gen eds. But it's a remarkable thing to see the collaboration, the love, the fun, and the joy that these kids experience with one another on the stage. And they do it in electrifying ways that just bring life to the stage and to the audience. And every year we are dealing with sellout crowds on Thursday and Friday, and it is a joy to see our kids share their life with one another in which they do on center stage. It is a unique opportunity, unique experience, and just something really wonderful. So my thanks to Noreen Leahy for the work that she has done in assisting them in coordinating all of this and getting it off the ground, as well as the endless number of teachers and students who work tirelessly to put this thing together. So, all right, that concludes my remarks. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Shea.
Mrs. McNulty?
Yes, and I will jump on that, talking about center stage. As being a principal at Nassau BOCES, we send several of our classes. I work with really multiply disabled students in wheelchairs and pretty medically fragile students, and it is the highlight of their year to come to Southside High School to see the center stage performance. So just to echo that, that is just phenomenal, and it really puts smiles on students across all the districts that come to watch the program. So thank you again. It really is a phenomenal thing. And this year they celebrated 10 years, so congratulations. It's awesome. So thank you for that. I also wanted to say congratulations to Liz Zion and Kelly Barry. Thank you so much to the community for having the budget passed. We really appreciate it, and we will work hard to continue to make sure that our district moves in the right direction. So thank you. Also, I wanted to say thank you to the Ed Foundation. It truly is overwhelming to see the amount of money that they bring in and what they really can do to help the programs and enrich our students, and all of our children really benefit from that. So we cannot thank them all enough for that. Watching the U at 4th and 5th graders tonight was just awesome, and it's so fun. That's the important part of these meetings, is really when the kids are here and getting to celebrate them. So that's always my favorite part of the meetings. And congratulations to all of the staff that received tenure today and that are retiring. And Mark, I'll talk about you at another meeting. But we're really, really appreciative of all of the hard work that they do, the mentors, and they really are the integral, real on-the-ground people that are working every day to make everything, every day successful for our students. So thank you to all of them. And I think that's it. Have a happy Memorial Day weekend.
Mrs. Hackett?
Always sound like a repeat of so many things that we all agree on,
person
but
gets
I get to go
yes,
first.
it's good. You covered everything. But thank you to the community, and congratulations to Kelly. I'm happy to have Liz stay on, and we will definitely. Mark's not gonna get away from us unscathed yet, but we will be loving the last few weeks we have with you, and you make a difference to us. So we're gonna hold on to you a little longer. But I also want to echo what Susan said. I was at the center stage performance when the kids were there during the day, and the kids were dancing and singing and happy. The kids in the audience, it was really wonderful. And congratulations, 10 years. I loved watching the video of all the years past and just seeing how far it's come.
Yeah.
And the two people who started it, the young students that were on the stage with the kids today, I just loved it. I really enjoyed every minute. And thank you to the Ed Foundation for all the work. That's I always am just excited to see what they're going to do next. Like what's next year going to bring, what students will be showcasing something new. My son was one of the very serious ukulele players tonight. Took it very seriously. But you know, it's just nice to see this money go right to the hands of our children. So grants are a huge part of what we do and what we welcome here. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to Lauren Billig, because she is at every event that we do in the district. I know she's not here now, but we had to let her go sometime tonight. She really is such a hard worker, and she's so friendly. She goes to every school, and she makes our Twitter account come alive. And in the modern day that we live in, this is how parents get to see what their kids are actually doing, and I think she makes us look really good. I really do. She just showcases so much of what this district is about, and I really would like to just say thank you to her for another year of just great illustrative work for Rockville Center. So thank you to Lauren.
Mrs. Dion?
Okay, well, I too would like to thank the community for passing the budget and for my election. And I congratulate Kelly, and I look forward to working with you. The past 9 years serving in this school district has really been a great pleasure and great honor, and I look forward to all the challenges and triumphs that we have to encounter together. You've spoken about center stage, so I will not repeat that or that. I will say something about retirement and our tenures, and a little bit about Mark, just because this is fun, and I don't know if he'll ever come back.
You gave him a warning shot.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll ever come back. But we always talk about the school district in terms of, you know, our size and a delineation and the 7 buildings. But our school district is the people, the teachers and the staffing and the administrators and the people who take what we create as our policies and educate our children. And it's these people that makes Rockville Center so special. And it makes our students soar. So while they're gone already, I thank all of our retirees, and I congratulate them, and I thank them for all the years that they served, and all the students that they reached. And for our tenure people, I absolutely will echo what Dr. Johnson said. We're married now, and you're with us. So I look forward to their years of service. And as for Mr. Mason, who has been with us for 15 years, I just did a little bit of calculation, and we'll say more in the next meetings, but just for this meeting, a little calculation. The 5-year-old child who started in kindergarten when Mark was on his first year is now 20 years old and has just left her second year of college. So that's good. Assuming we have about 24 meetings a year, that's 360 board meetings, a year of board meetings.
It says so right here.
What? Oh, okay, did you take my things?
No.
On top of the 9 years at NYSBA, which is another 90 meetings, so that's 450 meetings. That doesn't include, Dr. Zuer's gone, that doesn't include
I have nothing left.
all the concerts, because Mark tries to and often succeeds to go to every single concert in this district, which is 10 concerts twice a year, plus a jazz concert in 3 all-districts, so that's 24 concerts. On top of drama and musical productions and football and soccer games and basketball tournaments and drug and alcohol events and family fun day. Mary, I don't know what you're going to have so much time together. So much time together.
And he works.
Mark and I did not always agree, because Mark is often wrong, but that's okay, because we talked it out, and we did something, and we worked together, and we compromised, which is a word that has become like a bad word, which is not a bad word, because when you get together with different people, with different ideas, coming at a situation from different angles, you seek one solution, and you seek it together. And everybody either walks out a little bit happy or a little bit sad, but they walk out together. And that's what Mark taught me. See, did you know that?
I've got to teach you about compromise, too.
Mark has a wonderful, wonderful way of pulling the camera back, looking at the big picture, how a small decision affects a large number of people, and how it affects them differently. Mark has always taught me that our job has been to nurture and raise all of our children, each and every single one of them, to the best of their ability. That has been our job, that has been his mission, and from where I sit, he did a beautiful job. I thank you, Mark, for your dedication and your commitment. I expect to see you at the next 2 meetings so I can continue this, and I thank you for your friendship. And that's all I have to say.
Are you Russian because you've been hacking my computer? Who's next?
Mr. Mason,
I thought you were.
do you want me to go next?
I don't care, it's up to you. You're the president. Make a decision.
I'll go next because I just want to just mention a few things coming along. Happy Memorial Day. I'm not going to go through all the center stage and all. We have a Board of Ed meeting next Wednesday, and then one on June 20th. Next Thursday, I'm sorry. June 20th, that will be our last meeting of the year. Graduation is the 22nd. You can join us at Hofstra if you care to for our Southside High School graduation. That's all I'm going to say. Mr. Mason, the floor is yours.
Thank you. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, that's all I need. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. I first used this quote about 12 years ago at a Southside graduation. I mentioned that it was from Dr. Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss. Now with Mr. Google proliferating the entire search engine structure, I must now report that it's believed to have been attributed to Dr. Geisel. So for all of you English and grammar specialists, I'll change the footnote. I am not crying. It is time for me and the community to move forward. While I personally don't believe in term limits, you know when it's time to move forward to new adventures. I'm smiling because it happened. I am. I intend to, and more important, I hope that you can smile because of what has been achieved. This has never been about me, myself, and I, but always about how we can travel this road, we can take this journey together. Having served for 15 years has given me a perspective on my leaving this position. Here's going to be one noticeable difference, one change. Between job 1 and job 2, it sounds like a Seuss book, generally I receive 250 emails a day. Granted, many of those are job 1 emails, but let's say 20% are school-related. Do all the math, and that comes to, at the end of 15 years, somewhere around 39,000 school-related emails. Kelly, a word of advice. Bigger hard drive. But you're going to do just fine. Just relax and learn. You add into that the agenda, the PARs, the IEPs, the warrants, other school-related documents to read on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, emails from New York State School Board Association, our meetings, public and executive session, concerts, shows, as has been said. You come up with the time being spent of somewhere around 30,000 hours. That's a lot. Just do the math. So what am I going to do with all this extra time? I can't wait to watch Ellen at 4 p.m. or whenever she is on. That's too easy. It's too convenient. I need to take that first step off the couch. So if you have a project that needs some help, send me an email, give me a call, send me a text. I don't Instagram, Snapchat, or any of those other things yet. Or we'll go to dinner. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank some people as the door starts to close behind me. First, my daughters, Samara and Alyssa. They were very thankful that I am stepping down, but were initially thankful when I first started because they were both out of the school, entirely out of the school. They thought that was in their best interest, but one of the effects of this will be my grandson Roger doesn't know it yet, but he's about to start getting real familiar with me. Mary, you have been with me since day one. Thought that I was going insane. We ended up making it work for 15 years. I was involved with my activities, you were involved with yours. We met during the weekend to have a calendar meeting to see where we were going to be, and so we could have some commonality during the week where we may be able to have dinner together. Her support has been invaluable, and I can't thank her enough. See, I thanked you. Hear that? Although I'm sure she will find a way. My school family. I probably have spent more time with you than anyone else. Over a period of greater than 15 years, I have established colleagues and friendships to last a lifetime. First among those, the person who took me under her wing, who guided me whenever she could, Miss Cynthia Gionis. She was a woman with boundless energy, tremendous amount of integrity and common sense, an incalculable resource, and we all miss her greatly. That being said, her successor, Ms. Jackie Wong, has clearly been her equal and would do all that could be done to help the board in their tasks. But our bond is more than that. We would talk about the kids, schools, life around the world, and experiences we have each had. Jackie is truly not only an employee of this district, she is a valued friend of mine. Our administrators through the year are as dedicated of a staff you could only hope to see. From Robert, Chris, and Noreen, through the individual buildings and the district, they are viewed as experts in their field. Yes, we have all had our differences, but we work through them while exhibiting a high degree of professionalism. Our professional staff, from our teachers, TAs, aides, our custodial staff, who makes our aging buildings look as if they were built yesterday. All contribute to our district's success. Also, our parents. As board members, we are merely an extension of a greater community. We are elected to represent all of the varied interests to the best that we can, because all of these components working together have only one reason: to educate our kids to the best of their abilities, plain and simple. Educate our kids to be their best. All well-run school organizations have a dynamic leader who controls these gates of success. We have been fortunate for multi-generations of kids to have a leader with the knowledge, foresight, education, and experience controlling our gates, Dr. Bill Johnson. Yes, the two of us can agree to disagree, and times over these 15 years we obviously can and have had our issues. But each of us, in our own respects, are singularly focused on making the decisions to bring our kids through those gates of opportunity and learning. He is owed a debt of gratitude for the guidance he has given to this district. And when it is his turn someday to make this kind of a speech, that I'll come back and listen to. He is a gatekeeper extraordinaire. Me, I'm just a novice. I have also, over the years, had a variety of different board members sharing my experiences. I have learned from each and every one from them. Some more than others, but that's okay. I have long considered myself the last of my generation of board members, a group of dedicated, focused individuals working to lay the foundation of this district as a gateway to success. This has been a group effort. Many board members have sat around these tables and have contributed with all that they have. Those such as Virginia Carney, Sue Lamastro, Lori Brady, who was here earlier, Meg Koch, Marcia Hirsch, Bill Burke, Steve Chris, and my good friend Keith Gaskell. Each and every one of them, in their own ways, have contributed to the growth of our school district. They are also gatekeepers. In fact, they helped build the gates. I'm not here if it wasn't for them setting the table. To our current members, John, Tara, Susan, and soon-to-be Kelly, build upon this foundation. Keep learning something every single day. That now brings me towards the end. There are two more members that I want to mention. Although I didn't know them prior to their service on the board, over the years they have become true lifelong friends. First is Maida. I don't know how to characterize our relationship, but all I can say is that it will be a sad day if I do something really stupid and ruin this friendship. And two is Liz. From that first day we met in the middle school, it's been 9+ years of getting to know each other. I don't know how to characterize our relationship either. Simple yet complex. So in my desire to keep this as simple and honest as possible, I just want to say this and to leave you with this simple thought. Thank you. And I mean that in its truest sense. So, thank you to our entire community for us taking this journey together. Thank you.
You're on TV.
That's really nice.
Mary, you can go back to Mahjong. Yeah. Just leave it with Maida.
Thank you, Mary. Opportunity for visitors. Please state your name and address.
Jeff Greenfield, citizen taxpayer, Yuba Court. First and foremost, Mark, congratulations. Thank you for your service to the community, for your years of devotion and dedication. I'm glad to hear that I wasn't the only one that didn't always agree with you, but I want you to know I always respected the time and effort that you put in on the job and the service you gave to the community, and especially since you were a unique trustee in that you started without the kids in the school and you put a lot of time and effort in it. So I truly thank you and appreciate your service, your volunteer service. As a professional volunteer, I respect other people that volunteer. Thank you. Congratulations to Liz and to Kelly, Liz's reelection and Kelly, and I wish both of you continued success because your success is our success in Rockville Center. Now on to a few, Dr. J, congratulations on another budget success. How many in a row do you have without a no?
32.
I don't want to give you a Kanahara, but that's a very good streak, Dr. J. I also enjoyed today watching you give out the awards to your colleagues and how meaningful it looked for you to see those people come up and how personal that you made that. And I think that's what makes your service to this district important. The issue that I came down here for tonight, I thought I was told it was going to be on the agenda for the bus contract bid status. But I see on here, we have on here the bus contract extension from the contract. I don't know if it's an extension, but it says the original contract date, November 28th, 2017. We're approving it now, 5 months later. But where do we stand with the bidding for the coming year?
Yeah, well, this is the formal contract for this year, through the end of this year.
Just through the
Which
end of this year.
expired, which is expiring.
Expires at the end of this year.
But it's dated in November, we're first approving it now? That's
We're
what
not
could
first approving it now, this is just the formal contract.
Okay. So are we bidding the bus contract? My understanding is we have to do it in the first week of June, and it was supposed to be on the agenda. The president told me it was going to be on the agenda tonight.
When did I didn't say.
The last meeting, yes, you said.
I said
I asked you about it, you said we'll make an announcement at the next meeting.
We're discussing it. We're in the process of discussing whether we're going to go out to bid or not. It's not.
So we don't have a decision yet?
We have 2 more meetings that we can,
Excuse me?
we have 2 more meetings, Jeffrey. We have one next week.
Don't we have to do this by June 1?
What? Do we? I don't think so. No, no.
Oh.
No, I'm not sure what exactly.
You have to give 30 days notice, doesn't it start July 1 and you?
No.
No? Okay.
Summer contracts are different. Regular contracts would start in September.
Oh, okay, so the June 1 date doesn't apply? All right. Well, then I stand before you to encourage you to bid, because it seemed like for the first time we had a alternative willing vendor, and competition is good, and I think it's a no-lose situation that we might entertain some alternate interesting numbers that will accrue to the benefit of the taxpayers of the village and the school district. Mr. Murphy, I feel for you with this U.S. News and Reports dilemma. I don't know anybody that reads that magazine. I don't know anybody that gets that magazine. But once a year, they make themselves important with this. A few real estate brokers care about this when it's the good side, and I think we got to be maybe a little more proactive with them or expose them, one or the other, because they make themselves or try to make themselves relevant with this rating, and the rating, that's the only time you hear from this magazine, once a year. I didn't even know they're still in business other than that. And it's a shame some people get very worked up over it. I don't see it to be the end all for this district. I know good things are going on here and good work is being done for the students, which may not be statistically correct with U.S. News and World Reports. But we have to maybe go after them or something, or just don't give them any data next year. Maybe we'll get in the top 100 that way, I don't know. All right, thank you all. Have a good holiday weekend.
We don't give them data. They
We
get data from
we
the
don't send the data. We actually, the other, John, you may want to explain it. The 2 rating, one is the U.S. News, they get that from the state, right? They don't send to us. We don't send anything to them.
They pull it off the public access New York State website and the Common Core data, which is a national database. Washington Post, we self-report.
Right.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Good
Mr.
holiday weekend to everyone.
Mr. Bartels, our contract with Bauman ends in June.
Correct.
So when do we re-opt, when do we make a move? You're meeting with them? I don't, the process to go with another transportation company
We
or
would
them?
issue another request for proposals.
So Bauman would submit, if they were to, they would
Yes.
have to submit another bid? It's not something that just
Correct.
rolls over typically?
Well, if we decide we can just extend the contract that we're approving tonight, we can just extend that at CPI. If we decide not to, we would go out for bid.
Okay.
But
And
there's always a risk in going out
Pros
for
and
a
cons.
bid.
There's,
Right.
absolutely, there's always a
So-
risk in going out.
And the risk being, we might get a lower price if we have two
No, that's not the
bidders
risk. That's not the
competing.
risk we get.
I'd like to answer about the risk. My name is Billy Nelson, and I work for Guardian. I worked for Bauman before. The risk is none. I'm telling you right now, when you guys needed help, Guardian came in and helped you during that strike. And within 2 days, we had it rolling. Everybody, all the buses, on time, everything was good. And you can look back, Dr. Johnson, you know what I'm saying? And guys, I want you to think about that. And we are ready to go. I have more ex-Rockville Center drivers at my company now at Guardian than they do here at Bauman, okay? When you gave it back to Bauman, they only rehired 9 full-time drivers. And out of the 9, and then there was 3 part-time drivers. The rest that they filled up for here in Rockville Center were the fired Hicksville drivers. That's the truth. They were never going to hire. We had 27 drivers. They were never going to hire everybody back. Not from day one when they were ready to go back. Any more questions? I would like to sit. I would love to sit with any of you to talk about it. But let me tell you something. We're ready to roll. And I want to keep that in mind. Okay?
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Frank Ward. I'm also a former Bauman employee. During the interim of us doing a 30-day contract, emergency bid with you, I became dispatcher for Rockville Center. I worked in Rockville Center as a driver for Bauman. I worked in other districts also. All I can tell you is that Guardian as a company is a very well-oiled machine. We take nothing for granted. We've made changes in our personnel to, well, to be better, to better serve your district. And I think if the board would consider going out to bid, RFP, I think we can do something. And like Bill said, we retained 16 of our original Rockville Center drivers. The other ones were former Hicksville drivers. And all we could ask the board is just to consider being competitive. Go out. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Barry Hockhauser, Shepherd Street, Rockville Center. One thing I wanted to say that Billy, who I didn't know was going to be here tonight, neglected to say is that, and I'll be honest, I didn't know he was tied to Guardian Bus or anything, but he does live in Rockville Center on Shepherd Street. And to the extent, well, I don't know where the Bauman people are, I mean, to at least give him a fair shake, I think is the very least we can do and possibly save the taxpayers some money. but he got up here and accomplished something which I think everybody sitting in this room probably hasn't seen. He pushed Greenfield away from the podium successfully. So I mean, for that alone, he deserves a chance. I was going to say, but
I'm coming back in a few minutes.
I don't come to every meeting, as everybody knows, but I do try to come to at least the last one of the year to thank the board, the administration, principal.
He just left.
He just left. Tell him I thanked him for the great job that you guys do. And I'm on other boards, and I know most of those emails Mark were referring to wasn't to say you're doing a great job. And it's a thankless job no matter which board you're sitting on. And even though I may not agree with every decision that's made, the work, the time, the effort is appreciated, and I'd like to at least come at least the last meeting of the year and say that. This year is also the last year, after 17 years, I'll actually have a kid in the school district. And I didn't think about it until Liz said it, but my oldest daughter, Lauren, just graduated University of Michigan. She was 7 and in 2nd grade, if I did the math right, when Mark started here. And Allie, who was graduating this year, was 3 years old and maybe in preschool around the corner. So
Make them feel better, right?
it's scary to think of that way, but the 17 years come to an end on June 22nd at graduation, and I'm not bringing an umbrella, so let's make sure there's no issues with that. But Mark, you did a great job. You kept me involved a lot more than I think I would have been if we didn't have all those conversations at the concerts, at wherever we would run into each other, whether it was a deli or wherever it was. And, you know, it's a long haul. 15 years is a long haul, and you were at everything. And from my family to your family, we appreciate the effort and the hard work that you put into all of this. So I thank Mark, but I thank everybody, and keep it going, and I'll keep coming back. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Before I begin, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak this evening and address some of my concerns as a special needs mother. My name is Anne Marie Diaz. I live at 31 Roxon Road, and we are zoned for Hewlett Elementary School. I have 2 boys with an autism diagnosis. Dean, age 6, he's my oldest, and he's currently in his 2nd year at the RISE program. And Dylan, who is at Little Village.
You know, it's a public meeting. We're not supposed to speak specific about your children.
This is not specific about them. I then retract saying their names, but this is not about them particularly.
Okay, if you can do that.
It's advocating for the RISE program.
Okay.
Okay, I take that back. I haven't been to one of these meetings before, so forgive me. As a mother of someone with autism and as someone who's active in the RISE program, one of the things that I've learned about children with autism is when you look in the mirror, none of the reflections are the same. Just like a fingerprint or a snowflake, no 2 children on the spectrum are the same. This brings me to why I'm here tonight. I'm very proud as a district that Rockville Center has acknowledged that there was a change needed to happen and that they created the RISE program. I can't say enough about the team. They have been fantastic and instrumental in helping the children in the program. I am also aware that with this responsibility of a new program, there will be many learning curves, milestones, and the occasional regret, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I do not want the lack of an adequate summer program and adequate reading support in the RISE program to be a regret. We do not offer a full-day program for the children in the RISE program. Bottom line, I'm here to advocate that the RISE students are provided with as much academic support to reach the least restrictive environment that's not only during the school year, but for the summer as well. My biggest concern, particularly with reading, is that this year, general education methods have been implemented to help RISE students, for example, AIS. As a result of that, I know Rockville Center took opportunity to retrain teachers and to implement 2 new programs which have been not only a help to students in RISE, but gen ed students who are suffering with reading or issues with reading. For summer services, Rockville Center only tends to look at regression. You hear regression, regression, regression. I implore the district to consider a full-day program like other districts in Nassau County do, and also to look at different situations and methodologies that have long-standing outside of regression to allow students, especially if you continue a half-day program with no Friday, to receive certain services that they might need, particularly reading. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much.
So let me continue where I was interrupted. I wanted to respectfully disagree with you, Liz, and tell you what I think we should accomplish by going out to bid again this year, and look forward to 2 bidders like we had in December, where 1 bidder unfortunately did not complete to the requirements 100%, but yet I think we have an opportunity to not only get a better and lower price, but to enhance what we're looking for. You folks are doing a great job here with respect to security in the school buildings. Well, what I'm concerned about, and I told this to Dr. J, is if you pass the Bauman lot on Lawson Avenue, there's no fencing there. I didn't see any cameras there. And in a new bid proposal, an RFP, I think it's equally important to address the security issue of the buses when they're not on our property here. When the buses are overnight, you don't want to stow away in it, you don't want to have a problem in it, and I think we should have an opportunity to do that. You're so committed to enhance security on the property of the buildings, on premises. I think this is an area that needs some enhancement, and any bidder or any future bidder or potential bidder should share your values when it comes to security. And maybe there's also there's other buses that have cameras, the cameras inside the buses on both the drivers. I've seen other districts have that, and on the students in the buses. Maybe that's an option to put in there and see what the opportunity cost is for that. I think the parents would like it. I think it's important for peace of mind for everybody that we look at these type of opportunities, and a new bid and a fresh bid would open that avenue for us. In addition, there's long range, because I'm not shilling for any one company. We have a unique opportunity here because of our cheap electric rates. We should find a way, a mechanism to convert to an all-electric fleet. I saw some publicity on News 12 about a district that went electric. I shared with Dr. J that there is a movement in Albany to take the money that the state is going to get from the Volkswagen fraud fines that's coming to the state of New York because of their violation of the emission standards, and put that into electric school buses. So maybe we should be a pioneer. We should apply for that. And no better place than Rockville Center, where I'm always fighting with LIPA, including today, to make sure that we get all our electric that we're entitled to be wheeled from the hydroelectric plant up at Robert Moses at the Niagara, and to make sure that the transmission lines are up to snuff to bring it down here so we generate less here and we get the hydropower that we're entitled to by federal law. So if we get, and we enjoy that in all our buildings except for one, and we should find a place for school buses that are electric and run our own operation and not worry about strikes and unions and people, because the school buses are not covered by the Taylor law, the independent buses, but if we ran our own buses, then it would be protected by the Taylor law. I think a little imagination, we have short-term goals I think we should accomplish with a new bid, and then long-term look into other objectives also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greenfield. Anyone else?
a motion to accept the minutes as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve financial reports? Receipt of reports. Can I have a motion to approve financial reports? I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to acknowledge receipt of the financial reports as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to accept items A through E? Plus,
Said G. F and G.
oh, I'm looking at the old one, sorry. We gotta break
G,
that.
that is,
G, and then we have an addendum, don't we?
Yeah,
G
we
is
have
an
it.
addendum.
We do.
But we can't do G, I
If separate.
have to abstain out of
G.
the personnel. John?
That's the addendum.
The addendum.
That's the addendum. Is that John?
I thought it was just on the
No,
PAR.
John's not on the addendum.
He's on the regular PAR, I think.
Maybe he's on addendum 1.
No, addendum 1.
Yeah.
He's on addendum 1, so take out addendum 1.
So can I have a motion to accept items A through G plus addendum 2?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to accept items, what item am
It's addendum 1.
I? Addendum 1 of the PAR?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any abstain? Aye. That puts us at. Can I have a motion to retire into executive session for discussion of specific personnel, contractual, and litigation matters?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. See you next Thursday. Right?